So that incident, as we suspected, will be closely looked at by the FIA MotoGP stewards. Pecco Bagnaia, Jack Miller and Alex Marquez all involved. It looked like clearly the wrong parties were both 63 and 43. 73 might be on the naughty step after that one.
Yeah, and it's generally a grid penalty that you see if riders are slow online. Frankie Morbidelli's had a few of those already, hasn't he, in recent times? So, yeah, potentially Alex Marquez in a bit of hot water for that, but they'll have access to all sorts of camera angles, to data down in the steward's office to make a fully informed decision. Pecco Bagnaia, as I said earlier on, traffic was going to be an issue in this practice session in the latter stages, and we've seen already some, well, graphic proof of it.
Let's have a look at this replay then. We're on board with Alex.
Yeah, so he's already seen someone up ahead of him, which has forced him to back off. You can see a rider just over to the left, just out of picture, one of the KTMs. So Alex Marquez has already rolled off of his lap, and then as he looks behind, he's got to make sure that he stays out of the way. Look, he's gesturing to Miller saying, I've already been held up, and Jack's now saying, no, you've got to keep pushing.
Yeah, there's a lot of frank exchange of views and opinions out there right now, isn't there?
Yeah, that's Paul Espargaro, isn't it? I think on the inside of the racetrack, who Alex was preoccupied by, and then Pecco Bagnaia came across it all in the middle of turn 3.
Yeah, that one, it will be sorted out in the steward's office without any question. As mentioned, yet Simon Crafar has all of the pictures that we see and plenty more with the CCTV that, I mean, there's dozens and dozens of screens that the race direction and the stewards have access to. So they will be far more informed than what we are when it comes to making the final decision. Of course, keeping an eye on our social media channels for any potential penalties coming the way of those involved. What could be coming the way of Pedro Acosta is a red alert from Marc Marquez, who's once again super rapid on that factory Ducati. Fabio Quartararo, well, he's finally better late than never coming to the party here in Balaton. That's more like it. A 137.671 has flung Fabio up into P4. Surely that potentially good enough for a direct place in Q2. Martin briefly slotted alongside him or behind him in 5th place, because now it's chopping and changing constantly. Morbidelli has gone up to 3rd. No, sorry, Bastianini now is up in 3rd. Luca Marini was briefly 5th. Now he's back in 6th place. So Fabio Quartararo, who was 4th 30 seconds ago, is now in danger of being pushed out of the top 10.
Because Alex Marquez has now gone up into 2nd place, taking his mind off any potential investigation and setting a 137.3. So it's Cressini 2 and 3. Bookending them are KTMs of Acosta and Bastianini. Morbidelli 5th from Marc Marquez, now 6th. Paul Espargaro 7th from Marini, Quartararo and Jorge Martin. Joan Mir falls slightly short in 11th. Does Pedro Acosta, your session leader, has gone down, and that looks like the outside of turn 2.
Yeah, turn 2, that's where the yellow flag marker is. He's hobbling away there, that foot as Acosta. And of course, that's going to bring out those yellow flags. So a bit of late drama here for the rider that's fastest out on circuit. And I was going to say there's the yellow flag markers at turn 11 as well. So Zarco has gone down. Yeah,
and this is bad news for Pecco Bagnaia, who's going to hit those yellow flags very shortly as he looks to finally string a competitive lap together. But he can't, once again, straight through the chicane.
Yeah, Bagnaia staring down the barrel of Q1 here, isn't he?
One more shot, Pecco. 90
seconds of the session remaining. At the moment, Marc Marquez only 6th fastest. Pedro Acosta might get away with that spot. We know that Acosta's through into Q2 with a 137.061. But how crucial will the Acosta Zarco spills prove to be for so many others?
Look at the traffic in Bastianini's face there. This is the Acosta crash. He was trying to go with Marc Marquez, and we're rounding turn 2. The rear comes round on Pedro Acosta, and it is going to throw him over the top.
Nasty. Nasty, low gear, slow speed, high side. Some of those, sometimes they're worse than a sort of a high speed loss at the rear tyre, because you really do get pinged up into the air. Look at this. Oh, that rear steps out from underneath Acosta. That's a painful one. He's going to wake up battered and bruised tomorrow, isn't he? Pedro Acosta then trying to go with a 93 mark ahead of him. It stepped out and then it just continued to spin, and then it gripped and pinged him over the handlebars. Whew. Brutal, real vicious one that for Acosta.
We did have some momentary changes. Marc Marquez did briefly go up into 2nd place, but he had that lap time cancelled because of the yellow flags for Zarco's crash. So he's now pushing on his final lap, but it is all or nothing here for Pecco Bagnaia. It is Q2 or bust for Pecco on this final lap at Balaton Park.
Yeah, some of our most recent world champions in the danger zone. Martin 10th, Quartararo 9th, Bagnaia 14th. Last three MotoGP world champions, of course, all in the danger zone here.
Binder's also trying to launch a late rescue mission. He's fastest through the first sector, but he's had a poor second sector. Binder still nailed down in P20.
What about Bagnaia? Acosta makes his way to the back of the factory KTM garage. Despite the late high side, despite his late drama, he's easing into Q2. Will he be the fastest rider, though, on our day one here in Hungary? Marco Bezzecchi, we'd be remiss not to mention him, of course. Pole position last time out in Austria, albeit from 18th place on Friday. He was well outside of Q2 on Friday yesterday.
This is going to be so close for Pecco Bagnaia. It is touch and go. Marc Marquez, with no yellow flags to worry about, does go back up into second place. Marini takes 8th place on a 37.5. Bezzecchi's taking the checkered flag. Bagnaia is about to.
Bagnaia down to 15th. Over the line he goes. 13th for Bagnaia. So two of our star Italians in MotoGP. Already two winners so far in 2025. Marco Bezzecchi and Pecco Bagnaia in Q1.
And one world champion might be about to dump another out. The 2020 world champion Mir goes in. 2024 world champion Martin dumped out.
Fabio Quartararo clinging on the factory Yamaha. Fabio's going to survive, I think. Ooh, how close do you want it? Fine margins in MotoGP. The gap between Acosta and Marc at the top of the timesheets is just 6 thousandths of a second. Poor old Jorge Martin as it stands right now. Are the late fivers coming from the Gian Antonio? No, there isn't. Jorge Martin has missed out on a direct spot in Q2 by less than the width of the front tyre. Quartararo pinches it, and I mean pinch it, by 1 thousandth of a second. A relief for Quartararo and Yamaha. A pain, late pain for poor old Martin.
Well, those who question the competitiveness of the Ducati GP25 have got some more ammunition. Only Marc Marquez gets it through. Bagnaia and Gian Antonio outside the top 10. No Aprilias make their way through either. All of them out.
Well, it was a bruising, if ultimately fast and successful practice session for Pedro Acosta. That was how he ended the session, flying through the air here at the Balaton Park circuit. But now he's made his way back to the KTM garage. He will see himself fastest on day one here in Hungary. A 137.061 from Acosta. We didn't quite get the 136 we were expecting. That was all down to some late yellow flag drama for Acosta and Zarco's late crash. Johan Zarco's tumble at turn 11 turned out to be really costly for the Frenchman. He was 20th, ahead of former LCR Honda rider Alex Rins, who's had another forgettable Friday, unfortunately, on the factory Yamaha.